Hi, I'm Jim Zelasco. It's my pleasure to bring you the very first episode of Dock Dogs TV. This series is designed to bring information to you, the competitor, straight from the Dock Dogs offices, and will be posted up on video circuits such as YouTube and Facebook. It's my intention to provide a variety of information in this series as it pertains to Dock Dogs. It could have to do with plans, operations, events in the future, maybe some events that have just been posted or events that aren't even up yet. I'd also like to include some information that might be about training tips, new products that are coming out, interviews with Dock Dogs personnel, interviews with clubs, their club presidents, board members perhaps, and interviews with competitors. In addition, you're going to be able to email me questions that I'm going to take straight to the Dock Dogs for you. I'll tell you how right after this.
Hi, we're elves. Just in time for the holidays, the Dock Dog store is online.
Go to DockDogs.com and order some stocking stuffers for you, your family,
your friends, and that special friend with a wet nose. Don't have time to wrap a package?
How about a Dock Dogs gift certificate for that someone special in your life?
More new products are coming soon, so log on to DockDogs.com and visit the Dock Dogs store now.
Welcome back to Dock Dogs TV. Just before the break, I was talking about how you can email some questions and we can get some answers directly from the Dock Dogs office. Here's the address on the screen. I want everyone to know out there that I am working with Dock Dogs to bring you this series. Dock Dogs has granted me exclusive access and agreed to disclose any information that I believe is important to you, the competitors, and needs to get out. Now, it's important that you keep your emails to the point and be considerate. I'd like to read them verbatim on video. I will not disclose the name. I just want to get the question out and I want to get you the answer. With all that said, it's time to get on with the very first installment of Dock Dogs TV. I didn't mess around. I went straight to the top. Here's my conversation with Grant Reeves, CEO and President of Dock Dogs. Today I am here with Grant Reeves from Dock Dogs. Thanks, Grant. I am actually in the Dock Dogs compound here where they work on the trailers. It's a neat place here because you see all the banners. I see some banners I remember from a few years ago. I see some brand new stuff going on here that I'm probably not supposed to know about. But it's nice to be behind the scenes. And I really do enjoy getting in here and getting a little bit so that I can get it out to people on Dock Dogs TV.
Thank you for coming over, Jim.
Thank you for sending me the notes, a little pre-appearance here from the meetings. Minutes from the Rules Committee meeting.
They are confidential. Make sure they don't go out to any. I don't want to get in trouble with any of my committee members.
See that?
Move it up
Quick
and down.
print screen.
Move it up and down so it's blurry. The committee members will be all over me on that one.
We're inside the garage here. This is one of the docks that you're working on. A lot of people might think that the docks are made by elves and you know, nobody really gets to see a little bit of behind the scenes and the work that goes into them. I know that you have 7 docks, correct?
We have 6 that are on the road, mobile, and we have one that's always as a backup when, in the event that something, a catastrophe happens, and knock on wood, we've never had to exercise that. But the reality of it is, yeah, here at the Dock Dogs compound, we have this luxurious workshop, I think you might call it, and a lot of stuff goes on behind the scenes. So Jim, first off, thank you for coming here. More importantly, we don't bring a lot of people in behind the scenes.
Well, no, I certainly appreciate that. And it's really neat to get to see this. I noticed this dock behind us here. You know, it looks like it's about midstream on its modifications. I recognize it, but I don't. It could be safe to say it was probably at one of the events I was at. But it's interesting to see. I see a lot of new wood. So you're making some upgrades on the docks. And I think that kind of goes along with some other stuff that I understand went on at a Rules Committee meeting about support for the clubs themselves. More support in terms of from the worldwide office.
Well, it starts with the equipment. I mean, the equipment this year was really unique because we had over 100 club events this year. And they were executed by volunteers for the most part. And the equipment took a severe beating. And listen, we've got to take blame. You know, it rests on my shoulders. Ultimately, I'm the CEO of the company, so it has to come back to me. The equipment, we couldn't keep up with the damage that was being caused and the wear and tear on it. So we've taken some steps in the off season here to not only renovate the equipment, but make all the docks uniform, which will translate to when the clubs get them and they're ready to help with the setup and assistance of it, it'll be the same as they had last time. Right now we have 5 different rigs in 7 that we have, so we're going to make them all uniform. That's one of the nice things that we're looking at. In addition to that, we're going to make them easier for the clubs to set up and to operate the events. We're trying to have some continuity, minimize the heavy lifting.
So it sounds like no more fretting about, am I getting the scaffolding dock at my event, or is it going to be a trailer dock? You know, no guessing, no finding out at the last minute, no trying to figure out what kind of workforce you're going to need, because they're all going to eventually be the same.
What we've done is we've taken the best of all the docks and considered the best for mileage on the road, equipment wear and tear, and brought them into this hybrid dock that some people have been calling, which are the small trailers with 3 platforms, and minimize the amount of lifting. We've got a lot of big changes for 2012, and surprisingly enough, this year's Rule Committee meeting was incredible. There was over 47 reps there, 5 staff, and 3 historical reps. So it was almost 60 people that were at the Rules Committee meeting this year, and a lot was accomplished, and the environment and the energy level was by far the best year we've ever had.
Well, that's a lot of people, a lot of clubs that came out and supported that. That's great to see. I'm glad to hear something like that.
A lot of the Dock Dogs community don't understand the structure and how the rules and the regulations and for the most part the policies and procedures are set for Dock Dogs worldwide. What they don't realize is, unless it's a financial issue or a safety issue, it's actually their peers that are making all the rules and regulations.
Right.
Each club that's an active affiliate is allowed to send 2 representatives to the Rules Committee meeting, and they carry forward suggestions, thoughts, and questions from their club members within the Dock Dogs community to the rest of the committee. And then things are discussed openly in an open forum, basically under Robert's rules, for lack of a better term, and then they're voted on, and each club gets 1 vote. And Dock Dogs worldwide, for the first time this year, was not permitted to vote on those rules changes.
Wow, so as any club members may have made a suggestion to you, it was really up to their club board to make that final decision, and really had no bearing whatsoever on Dock Dogs worldwide as far as what way that decision went.
Yeah, you basically have 3 levels of getting the rules changed, and we, because of the growth of Dock Dogs, it's been such a steep growth curve, we've had to basically implement different procedures in order to hear everybody's opinion. So we're really relying heavily on the clubs. We want it to come through the clubs and the club representatives, for the one reason that there's so many duplicates, because you might have a suggestion and I might have a suggestion, but to send them all to head office would take a lot of time. So what happens is the clubs vet it at the first stage and remove the duplicates, and some of them, you know, to be honest with you, a live animal in a cage as a throwing object is something we wouldn't even consider. So they vet that out right away. But then what happens is, then it comes to the head office and it goes into the administration girls, and they gather them from the 40+ clubs, and then again remove the duplicates, and if it's a safety issue or if it's a financial issue, they put it up to the management team for consideration before it goes on the agenda. Then the agenda gets developed and it goes to the Rules Committee, and over the 2.5 days we discuss all the rules and regulations, past, present, and future.
Well, that's a lot of work, and I know I appreciate our members and all the club's members going to the Rules Committee meeting. You know, I didn't hear about any knockdown, drag-out battles or anything like that.
Years past, it's been a very tenuous situation at some of the meetings, and you have to understand, people are very passionate about Dock Dogs, and the people that are representing individual clubs as officers or directors are even more passionate. But this year, for some reason, the energy and the attitude about positive, looking forward and fixing what's broken and going forward, it was great. And I've received emails from almost all the committee members. And I have to say, personally, I want to thank them. I want to thank the officers and directors. There was over 204 officers and directors throughout Dock Dogs this year that did everything, run all the events, help us out. And then the addition of these 47 committee members. So it is really a grassroots organization.
Wow, that's fantastic. Were there some particular issues that you think that the audience out there would be interested in knowing about?
You know, one of the things that's going to affect the Dock Dogs community as a whole, as a result of all the dialogue and all of the changes that are coming out of the Rules Committee this year, is the National Championship. Historically, we've had that one tremendous event a year. We've tried to move it around the country as much as we can, but both based on distance and more importantly on economic climate, it's really tough for the Dock Dogs community to rally as a whole and get behind it. If you recall, back in the 2010 Dock Dogs World Championships, we did it in Mason, Ohio, which was the most central location we ever did. We had over 1,100 entries based on participation of 420+ teams. You know, we were in Dubuque last year and we realized about 800 entries, And this year we were up in the Northeast and stayed with the Killington program, and we realized just over 400 entries. And what we've come to learn is it's not fair to the people that live in the outskirts outside of the central Midwest. They just can't either afford to get there, they don't have enough travel time allocated, or they have to submit their dogs to the flight. So what we're going to do is we're going to change the national format. We're going to adopt a national championship program, the banquets, the social functions, the whole rally and competition, stay with divisional format like we do at national championships. So every division runs against only people in there, and we're going to go to a regional program. So in essence, you're really getting the loss of one national championship, but you're gaining additional regional championships. And we divided the country right up now into different regions. It has nothing to do with the zones, but it's in regions, and a map that you'll be able to see on the Dock Dogs website. You've got Canada with its regions, you've got the eastern part of the United States, the central part of the United States, and now the western part of the United States, and we've done the same with the UK. We've made it a region. And as we continue to grow and evolve, they'll each have their own championships at a different time of year. So it's going to be pretty neat.
Okay, well, great. Now, I know with that comes a little issue. I know there's a little bit of debating back and forth about, you know, some people like that idea, some people not so certain about that idea. How do you address those that are going to, well, like me, I'll be honest, they're going to miss that whole gathering of everyone, and I'm afraid I might not see some of my friends from the West Coast ever again?
Well, for the people, one of the big things about Dock Dogs is we don't want to make it about the money and who can do the most because they have most money. So for the people that actually can afford to travel, there's no limitation. There's nothing saying you can't go to a different regional championship. And one of the things I think you'll realize is, while you might have saw a few people, 5 or 6 from the Northwest, 4 or 5 from the South, different areas coming into the national championships, using let's use the Eastern Championship as an example, that regional championship, you're going to get those 400 to 600 entries coming to just that one event. So you're going to see a lot more people, and the camaraderie level will be even higher. What's going to happen though, and people have to understand, this is going to be coming out on the website, or if it's not already up there, under the events tab under special events, you'll see the qualifications for this. But we're going to take the top 4 from each division, and we're going to carry this format, which used to be the national championships, it's now the new regional championships. We're going to carry it through to the world championships for Dock Dogs worldwide. And that world championships will always take place at the end of November. We're trying to keep it consistent so people can plan to travel. That'll be the event that moves around the country, and sometimes might even move to another country. But every division will be sending from each of the regional championships their top 4 people from that event, in addition to other rankings and other overall ranking considerations for invitations. So in theory, you can end up with over 400 dogs at the World Championships. And now even the little guys getting the same recognition at the World Championship level as those big jumping dogs. It opens up the opportunity for a much more competitive field at the World Championship level, a much more competitive field within the regional level, and more importantly, we're going to find out who the true champions now are in each division, both regionally and nationally. I'm pretty excited about this new format.
I'm gaining a like for it the more I think about it and the more I hear about it. I think it is going to make it such a big deal, especially when it does finally come to Worlds, and the Worlds is not so limited.
The one thing I want to make sure that we don't lose sight of is a lot of the energy at Nationals was based on the social functions and the camaraderie. And while we're going to try and do everything we possibly can to not only foster and grow from what we learned at Nationals and each of those regional championships, just imagine what the World Championships are going to be like now with over 400 of the top dogs, and not necessarily just the top dogs, but the top dogs in each division. That is going to be an event that nobody's going to want to miss. Wow. It's going to be great.
And we were just getting started. I think you'll agree there was some answers to some great questions here and some good information provided. Don't forget, you can email me your questions, and I'll pick 2 or 3 of them to take straight to Dock Dogs and get some information and answers for you. Here's the email address you can use. My interview with Grant Reeves continues in the next episode. We're going to get some more information, and I'm going to ask some tough questions.
In the next installment of Dock Dogs TV, the questions get hot.
Grant, I'm going to put some tough questions to you.
I have no issue with both receiving, reviewing, and taking into consideration constructive criticism. It's a big issue when somebody tries to cause harm to the Dock Dogs community.
But it's your host who's feeling the heat.
You know, Jim, you gave what I would term as some pretty honest criticism, and I want to go on record as saying